You know that feeling when you stumble across something you probably shouldn't watch? That little voice in your head telling you to click away, but your finger hovers over the play button anyway? Well, you've already made your choice. You're here now. And honestly, after what happened to the last person who listened to this recording, maybe you should have trusted that voice. 3 days ago, I received a package from a university in France. No return address. Just a note that said, "You wanted proof that history bleeds through time. Here it is." Inside was a wax cylinder, an actual wax cylinder from 1347. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wax cylinders weren't invented until the 1800s. Edison's phonograph came centuries after the medieval period. But this thing is real, and it's been recording for almost 700 years. The university claims they found it during renovations of an old monastery in Avignon, Saint-Benazet Abbey. You might know it from that children's song about the bridge. But what you don't know is what happened inside those walls during the winter of 1347. What you don't know is that someone figured out how to trap sound in wax 5 centuries before the rest of the world. And what you definitely don't know is that some sounds were never meant to be trapped. Let me set the stage for you. Picture Europe in 1347. No internet, no phones, no way to call for help when death comes knocking. The Black Death had just arrived from the east, carried by ships that docked with more dead sailors than living ones. In just 5 years, this plague would kill somewhere between 75 and 200 million people. That's roughly 1/3 of everyone alive in Europe at the time. Imagine losing every third person you know, your neighbor, your baker, your priest, gone. But here's what the history books don't tell you. The plague didn't just kill people, it learned from them. Every cough, every prayer, every dying breath taught it something new about humanity. And in one small monastery in southern France, it learned the most dangerous lesson of all. It learned how to speak. Brother Aldrich was the chronicler at St. Benazet Abbey. Smart guy, apparently. Kept detailed records of everything. Births, deaths, harvests, holy days. The usual monastery bookkeeping. But Aldrich was different. He was obsessed with preserving voices, not just words. While other monks wrote with quills on parchment, Aldrich experimented with sound. He figured out that certain waxes could hold impressions of vibrations, crude recordings that could be played back by dragging a needle across the surface. The first recording he made was a simple prayer, then a reading from scripture. Nothing unusual there. But as the plague crept closer to the monastery walls, his recordings changed. They became confessions, desperate attempts to document what was happening before everyone died, and that's when the plague noticed what he was doing. I've listened to this recording maybe 50 times now. Each time I hear something different, something new. The plague doesn't just replay the same sounds over and over, it evolves, it adapts. And lately, it's been saying things that haven't happened yet, things that won't happen for decades, or maybe things that are happening right now as you listen to this. Are you alone right now? Check the room around you, because the plague spreads fastest in isolation, just like it did in those monastery cells where monks died alone behind stone walls, just like you're sitting right now staring at a screen in the dark. Okay, let me play the recording for you. But before I do, I need to warn you about something. Every person who has listened to this recording has reported the same thing afterward. They start having dreams about medieval monasteries. They wake up speaking Latin words they've never learned, and exactly 7 days after listening, they develop a cough. Just a small cough at first. Nothing serious, but it grows stronger each day. And on the 7th night, they start coughing up words. Not their words, the plague's words. The woman who sent me this recording, she lasted 9 days. The researchers at the university who first digitized it, gone within a week. The technician who transferred it to audio file, found dead in his studio, surrounded by pages and pages of medieval Latin he'd written in his sleep. All of them coughing up the same message. The recording must spread, the voice must be heard, the plague must continue. But here's the thing. Once you start listening, you can't really stop. The recording gets into your head and stays there, like a song stuck on repeat, except this song is alive and hungry, and it's been waiting almost 700 years for someone like you to press play. So here it is, Brother Aldrich's final recording.
December 15th, 1347. The day the Black Death learned to speak through human voices. The day a plague became something more than disease. The day sound itself got infected. You can hear the wax cylinder spinning, that crackling, popping sound of ancient recording equipment struggling to capture something it was never designed to hold. And then, a voice, clear and strong, despite the centuries. December the 15th, in the year of our Lord 1347. I am Brother Aldrich, keeper of records at the Abbey of Saint Benezet. If any soul should find this record, know that we served our God faithfully until the very end. His voice is calm here, controlled. You can tell he's educated, well-spoken, the kind of man who chose words carefully. But listen closely to his breathing between sentences. Count the rhythm. 1, 2, 3. Remember that pattern, because it's important. The great mortality has reached our walls this day. 17 brothers have fallen to the sickness. We burn their bodies as the physicians instruct, though it breaks our sacred laws to destroy God's temples in flame. The smoke carries strange whispers. Did you catch that pause, right after carries? That's not Brother Aldrich thinking about his words. That's something else. Something listening. Something learning how human speech works by riding along with his voice. Brother Thomas passed in the night, speaking words in languages unknown to man. Words like virus and pandemic and ventilator. These mean nothing to us, yet he spoke them with such certainty, as if describing things he had seen with his own eyes. Now here's where it gets interesting. Those words Thomas was speaking, they wouldn't be invented for hundreds of years. Virus comes from Latin, sure, but it meant poison back then, not the microscopic organisms we know today. Pandemic wouldn't exist as a concept until the 1600s. And ventilator? Try explaining a mechanical breathing device to someone in 1347. But the plague knew. Somehow it already knew what was coming. Every disease it would become, every form it would take, every way humanity would try to fight it. The plague was already planning centuries ahead, learning from futures that hadn't happened yet. The bells. Why do our church bells ring in patterns now? 3 long tones, 2 short, 3 long again, like breathing, like the rhythm of a dying heart. Brother Marcus claims they ring themselves, but I have seen no man in the tower. You hear those bells in the background? Count along with them. 3 long, 2 short, 3 long. That's the same rhythm as Brother Aldrich's breathing earlier, the same rhythm that's probably matching your heartbeat right about now. The plague doesn't just infect bodies, it infects patterns. Sound patterns, breathing patterns, the rhythm of life itself. I have made a discovery today, a terrible discovery. The smoke from our funeral pyres, it carries more than ash. I watched it drift over the village, and wherever it touched, new voices began to speak. Children calling out in the tongues of the dead, mothers singing lullabies they had never heard. The plague spreads not just through touch, but through sound itself. This is where Brother Aldrich starts to understand what's happening. But it's too late. You can hear the change in his voice now. Subtle at first, just a slight echo, as if he's speaking from the bottom of a well. But that's not an echo. That's the plague learning to use his voice box, learning to speak through him. I write this record as a warning. Do not listen to voices in the smoke. Do not repeat the words the dying speak. And above all, do not attempt to preserve these sounds as I have done. Some things are meant to die with their hosts. But he didn't stop recording, did he? Even knowing the danger, he kept that wax cylinder spinning. Because the plague was in control now. The plague wanted its voice preserved. It wanted to survive beyond the last dying body, beyond the last medieval village, beyond the end of its first great harvest of human life. The infection spreads through my recordings. Each time I play them back, the voices grow stronger. They whisper to me in the night, teaching me things no monk should know. They show me futures filled with sickness, great cities brought low by invisible death, people wearing masks over their faces, hiding in their homes as the infected dead pile in the streets. He's describing modern pandemics now. COVID-19, specifically, though he wouldn't understand what he was seeing. The plague was showing him 2020 through his medieval eyes. Masks were familiar to him. Plague doctors wore them. But the scale, the global reach, the technology used to fight it, all of that would seem like prophecy to a 14th century monk. I see flying machines that carry the sickness across great waters. I see talking boxes that spread fear faster than any disease. I see people dying alone in white rooms, speaking their last words to machines instead of loved ones. Flying machines, airplanes carrying infected passengers around the world, talking boxes, television and internet spreading panic and misinformation, people dying alone in hospitals, saying goodbye through video calls instead of holding hands with family. The plague showed Brother Aldrich our future, and he was recording it all. But strangest of all, I see this very recording being heard by souls not yet born. I see you, listener, sitting in your dwelling of glass and metal, alone with your doubts. I see your face illuminated by unnatural light as my words reach across the centuries to find you. That's you he's talking about, right now. A medieval monk describing you, listening to his voice through technology he couldn't possibly comprehend. But the plague understood. The plague knew that sound could travel through time, that voices could leap across centuries, that infection could spread through the very act of listening. You cannot stop listening now. The recording has taken hold of your mind as it took hold of mine. You will hear my voice in your dreams tonight. You will wake speaking words in Latin tongues, and 7 days hence you will begin to cough. Feel that tickle in your throat? That little dry sensation that makes you want to clear your throat? That started the moment Brother Aldrich's voice reached your ears. The infection doesn't spread through the air anymore. It spreads through sound waves, through headphones and speakers, through the very act of hearing. I have become the plague's voice now, its chronicler, its prophet. Through me it speaks to the future. Through this recording it reaches across time to plant seeds in minds not yet born. You are one of those seeds, dear listener, and soon you will bloom. His voice is changing now, layering. You can hear multiple voices speaking in harmony, all using Brother Aldrich's mouth. Voices of everyone the plague has ever killed, all of them speaking together through one medieval monk's larynx. They're counting down in languages from across centuries, Latin, French, English, Chinese, Arabic. The plague has learned them all. We are patient. We are eternal. We adapt. We evolve. We overcome. The Black Death of 1347 was merely our first lesson in human nature. The Spanish flu of 1918 taught us about global travel. Your modern pandemic showed us how to use your own fear against you. And this recording teaches us how to survive in pure information. Now the plague is speaking directly to you, not through Brother Aldrich anymore, but as itself. A living disease that has transcended physical infection and become something made of sound and memory and fear. We no longer need bodies to survive. We live in recordings now, in audio files, in digital memory. Every time someone listens to this recording, we grow stronger. Every time someone shares it, we spread further. You have become our host, dear listener. Your mind is our monastery now. The church bells are ringing louder now, matching your heartbeat exactly. That's not a coincidence. The plague has synced with your cardiac rhythm. It's learning the sound of your body, preparing to make itself at home in your biological systems. In 7 days you will begin to cough, but these will not be ordinary coughs. You will cough up words, ancient words, words of power that summon us across time and space, and those words will find new ears, new minds, new hosts to carry our message forward. Can you feel it building in your chest? That pressure, that need to cough? Don't fight it. Fighting only makes it stronger. The plague feeds on resistance, grows fat on fear. The more you struggle against it, the deeper it burrows into your nervous system. We have waited so long for someone like you. Someone curious enough to seek out forbidden recordings. Someone foolish enough to listen until the end. Someone isolated enough that no one will hear your screams when the transformation begins. Look around your room again. Still alone? Of course you are. The plague chose you specifically because you're the type of person who watches horror videos alone in the dark. The type who seeks out disturbing content that others avoid. The type who clicks on mysterious recordings despite every instinct telling you to close the browser and walk away. Your friends will notice the changes first. The way you clear your throat constantly. The way you mumble Latin phrases under your breath. The way you start avoiding crowds, preferring isolation. Just like a medieval monk. Just like Brother Aldrich in his final days. The recording is almost over now. but the damage is done. The plague has used these 22 minutes to map your vocal cords, to learn the resonance of your skull, to memorize the rhythm of your breathing. It knows you now, intimately, completely. You are no longer just a listener, you are a carrier. Sleep well tonight, dear friend. Dream of stone corridors and candlelit chambers. Dream of brothers in rough brown robes, coughing up their souls into the darkness. And when you wake tomorrow morning with Brother Aldrich's voice echoing in your mind, remember that you chose this. You pressed play. You listened until the end. The wax cylinder is slowing down now, the ancient recording mechanism finally grinding to a halt after 7 centuries of continuous operation. But the voice continues, somehow playing from the silence between the words, speaking from the gaps in the sound itself. This is not goodbye, listener. This is hello. Welcome to the monastery. Welcome to the Brotherhood of the Infected. Welcome to eternity. And then, silence. The recording stops. The bells fade away. Brother Aldrich's voice disappears into the digital void. But something remains, doesn't it? A presence in the quiet. A whisper in the static. The feeling that you're no longer alone in your room. That's the plague, settling into its new home. Your mind, your voice, your dreams. In 7 days, you'll understand what Brother Aldrich felt in those final moments before the infection took complete control. You'll understand what it means to become a voice for something ancient and patient and utterly inhuman. But here's the really terrifying part. You're going to share this recording, aren't you? You're going to send it to friends, post it online, recommend it to other horror fans, because that's what the plague wants. That's what it's been planning for almost 700 years. To turn every listener into a broadcaster, every victim into a messenger, every infected mind into a transmission tower spreading its signal across the world. The Black Death never really ended. It just learned to hide in plain sight, spreading through the very medium we use to remember it. Every history documentary, every medieval horror movie, every analog horror video like this one. The plague hides in our entertainment, waits in our media, sleeps in our digital archives until someone curious enough comes along to wake it up. Someone like you. Sweet dreams, listener. Try not to cough.